Wes Soltis, editor-at-large of HEAVEmedia.com.
And I'm Ryan Peters. I'm an associate editor at HEAVEmedia.com.
Welcome to the first ever HEAVEmedia.com TAKEit or HEAVEit.
It's a video entry that we're going to be doing where we talk about 3 albums that have come out in the past couple of weeks or even just within the past week, and we're either going to take them, we're going to cuddle up with them and say that we like them and that they're amazing, or we're going to heave them.
And hate them.
Yeah, if we don't like them, they are out of here.
Today's special is the letter G.
G.
All of our artists start with the letter G. I don't know
G.
if you noticed that.
We often refer to each other as G. What's up, G?
Homie, yeah.
Yeah.
Homie. The first album we're going to do is Gutter Twins' Saturnalia. And Ryan, do you know what Saturnalia means?
All I know is that the rash from it has gone away thanks to the ointment that I got.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a vicious disease.
No, I do know what it means because I looked it up on Wikipedia.
As did I.
Source of all information. It was a Roman festival back during the Roman Empire where the slaves and the masters would switch positions or switch roles so that the slaves became the masters.
Now this actually has nothing to do with the album whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean we've listened to it through all the way, and I don't totally understand the reference between the title and the material on the album.
Yeah. What'd you think of it?
I wanted to like it. I really wanted to like it a lot. It's got Mark Lanigan of the Screaming Trees, and he also did some work with Queens of the Stone Age and a bunch of other important grunge era bands. And it's also got
he defined the '90s
basically. Yeah. And he's got Greg Dooley of the Afghan Wigs on there. It's a combination.
There's also the two Twilight Singers as well.
That's right. So they got a good pedigree going, but. I think ultimately I wanted to like it more than I actually did.
Yeah. Now they've worked together in the past, but for the longest time they've wanted to make this album together under the moniker Gutter Twins, and they finally did it. And for how many years it took and everything, it's pretty underwhelming.
Yeah, I think that my big problem with the album, or the issue that I have with it, is that it's more about mood than I think actual music, or at least it seems like it's very dark. It's kind of brooding, almost bluesy type music, but a lot of the tracks tend to run together.
Yeah, it's very gritty, and dark, like you said, and a lot of guest on it. Quintron from Quintron and Miss Pussycat's on it, and it's just it wasn't very good.
Yeah, nothing really. I mean, there's a couple tracks that stand out. My favorite track was I Was in Love with You, and that one really builds to a big cathartic big ending, and I wish that more of the album were like that.
Yeah, there was no build up, and as you said earlier, it kind of was all the tracks sounded the same. It went from track to track, and that kind of ruined the growth in the end because it all was the same.
Exactly.
When it was all said and done. So I'm going to heave it.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's gone. That's all I can say.
I'm going to say heave it too, although we'll hold out the possibility that in the future the Gutter Twins are going to be good. They've got all the right tools to be good. I just wasn't a huge fan of the first album.
Yeah. The next album we're going to do is Goldfrapp with Seventh Tree with that delightful young tart, Alison Goldfrapp.
Alison Goldfrapp, who we are in love with.
She's attractive. I think she would date both of us.
I think so, too. I would date both of us simultaneously.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's legal in this state.
I think collectively we have traits, alone we're not very impressive.
No.
But if you take the best of you, the best of me.
If we take your beard, my bone structure, you know what that makes? It's like David Beckham right there.
That is
what I'm talking about.
David Beckham, indeed. So what'd you think of the album?
It's kind of the same problem that I had with the Gutter Twins, although the styles of the album are kind of different in that I really like Goldfrapp. I like a lot of the stuff that they've done before. I just wasn't a big fan of this one, I think because instead of their last album where it was real up-tempo, lots of disco grooves to it, this one is real down-tempo, and a lot of the songs tend to blend together.
Yeah, really the only song that reminded me of old Goldfrapp was Caravan Girl, and the rest of it was just, very, very slow, and I mean, her voice really shined on the album, which I think was the one very, very redeeming quality of the album, is that she really, flexed her vocal muscle, so to speak, but maybe after multiple listens, I'll really, really like it, much like Back with Sea Change, because it was such a grand departure. But overall, I like it, but I can't recommend it to everybody. Only certain people.
The Beck reference is probably, you know, like a good way to think about it, because like the change in styles from this Goldfrapp album from the last one, I mean, it is kind of like a sea change. It's you know, a complete 180. I'm gonna say, I want to say HEAVEit just because I didn't enjoy it that much, but the second time that I listened to it through, I enjoyed it more than the first time, so it might just be something that takes a little bit of time to grow on you.
I'm going to keep it because for the same reason. I mean, I know it's going to grow on me, and I know it's going to be a solid album after multiple listens. It's just, since it was such a grand departure, it really took some time. It's going to take some time to get used to it. And
when Allison, you know, Goldfrapp comes to join this little commune, this family that we've started, she's going to want to sing these songs to us before she goes out on the road, and I'm definitely willing to take those.
We're just going to have to let her. Yeah.
It's, you know, we got room in the back room.
Yeah, the price of marriage.
That's right. Okay, so the last album is Grand Archives.
Self-titled Grand Archives.
That's it's their debut album. It's on Sub Pop, I think.
Yep.
And it's fronted by Matt Brooke, who was a guitarist in Band of Horses and was a guitarist and I think also a vocalist in
Carissa's Weird.
Carissa's Weird, that's right. And I really like this album a lot. I don't know.
Oh yeah, it's almost like their Grand Archives. Band of Horses on some sort of happy medication.
Yeah,
is what it would be. In Band of Horses, he did all the chord progressions. He didn't write any of the lyrics, but musically you can tell that he. I mean, it's got the southern rock feel to it.
Definitely.
And, it's good. I like it a ton.
It's really good. There's a lot of variety on the album. I think the whole thing is interesting. I think it's really interesting that Matt's vocals sound exactly like Ben Bridwell of Band of Horses, and also like Jim James of My Morning Jacket, which is something that Band of Horses and My Morning Jacket, you know, they get that comparison a lot. Like, oh, your lead singers sound so much alike. Well, now it's times 3, and I don't know. I think they're just actually the same person with different haircuts.
The album features, I think, one of the catchiest songs of the year so far. Torn Blue Foam Couch has been my favorite album of the year. The interesting thing with the album is they use so many different sounds, like distorted ukuleles and distorted pianos, like
harmonica.
Yeah, harmonica. Everything has a distortion pedal on it, and it makes for some really, really unique songs. Both, and then like singing-wise as well, they do some pretty weird stuff with like harmonization and stuff like that.
Yeah, on one of the tracks that's it's either the last or the second to last track on the album. It's called "The Crime Window." That was my personal favorite track on the album, and it kind of sounds like the Go Team meets Band of Horses. It's awesome. There's a lot of people kind of shouting, singing along in the background. It's just kind of almost sounds like a really, really good bar song.
Yeah, I mean,
I like it a lot.
Yeah, at the end of the album, you're like, "What the hell just happened?"
Yeah.
But it's really good.
It was really good.
If you actually go to HEAVEmedia.com right now, you can read an interview with Matt. If you didn't know that,
I did know that because I know that you were the one that did that interview, and it is excellent. You guys should check it out.
And we asked him about the sounds they created and stuff. So check it out if you'd like to know more.
That's right. So we're definitely gonna take this album and keep it. It's good. It's one of my favorites of the year so far, actually.
You actually just gave me my own opinion, let me say it. But I'm keeping it. I am keeping the album.
Good.
It was solid.
We're in agreement then.
Yeah, that'll do it for this edition of Take It or Heave It. Tune in next week where we'll have 3 more albums to review.
Absolutely.
Maybe not with the letter G. Who knows?
It could be a letter J, could be Q, could be a mix of letters.
Yeah, go to www.heavemedia.com. Check out the website. We have articles, interviews, MP3s.
And check out the blog. There's also a link to our blog on the website. We talk about shows that are upcoming, albums that are going to be released. We go to shows, we review them for you. Talk about what's happening on the album charts. So there's a lot of good stuff there. You should check it out too.
HEAVEmedia.com, music and culture for the open mind.